I quote Brain Academy. Coaching focuses on equipping the individual to discover their unique potential. The word coaching seems to be branded everywhere these days, and there has been a rise of coaches. Whether you're seeking a new career change, or you are stuck in a rut, or wanted to be motivated, have a decision to make, but don't know the right way to go, need to spice up an existing relationship, or find the partner of your dreams, or want to lose some extra weight, want to make money, etc., etc. A coach in your life is so very important. So, when it comes to students, he can also be definitely benefited by a coach. Hiring a coach is one of the best things you can do for yourself. And guess what? It is also one of the best things you can do for your personal life. Getting the insight of a coach can help you overcome the obstacle that you encounter in daily life. Oprah attributed part of her success to her life coach, Martha Beck, and has been a major advocate of it. Academic life coaching goes beyond youth mentoring or counseling by helping students understand how best they can learn at school, be proactive, and exercise personal leadership. The skill that teen learns in the present have an exponential impact on their future. Namaste, Salamat Sore, good evening. Welcome to Educator series on Manthan with Saraswathi, which features experienced educators, administrators, motivators, edupreneurs, etc. On this platform, I've had many noted doctors, educationists, artists, and friends who have shared their thoughts, life experience, and advice to the young minds and to the other viewers. I'm sure this would have benefited them in all walks of their life. Today is the 7th episode on Educator series, and there is many more to come. And this is the first time on Manthan with Saraswathi, we have a person who is not an educator, however, has deep interest in education, and with his over 3 decades in corporate industry, and also as a coach, focused on leadership and personal development. A very, very warm welcome to you on Manthan with Saraswathi, Mr. Vasudev Nagaraj.
Namaste, salamat sore semua. Good evening.
Good evening. It's a
pleasure being with you here, Saraswathi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And kindly allow me to introduce you to the viewers, Mr. Vasudev Nagaraj. Vasudev Nagaraj, Vasu, as he is popularly called among friends and colleagues, started his career with entertainment electronics, supporting Dayanara television, and found his way into the IT industry when computers started becoming common in late 80s. After a stint of entrepreneurship, he worked for various multinational organizations like Storage Tech, Sun Microsystems, IBM in India and US, completing 3 decades plus in the IT industry. In the last 12 years, he has been in the capacity of a leadership and personal development coach, helping many individuals deal with the relationships, career-related issues, and for organization, helping build cohesive and high-performance team by transforming communication and interpersonal relationship. So we are very, very excited to have you on our show, Mr. Vasudev Nagaraj. Our show is called Manthan with Saraswathi, and a very, very warm welcome to you once again.
Thank you, Saraswathi. Pleasure and an honor to be amongst you.
And thank you so much for that. And if you will allow me, we can hit the conversation straight away. What do you think, Mr. Vasu?
All good.
All good. Okay. I quote freshmen in college. Do something now, your future self will thank you for it later. Mr. Vasu, you definitely did something for sure. You graduated in sciences and now You are coaching and helping many students. How did you decide to become a coach?
Saras, thank you firstly for this platform of background and many things that you have said. It kind of sets up the foundation very well and to have a good conversation around these subjects. Back when I was young, there were two hobbies I had. One was electronics, and the other is very crazy. Even there were two hobbies I had. One was electronics. People who hear this kind of say, wow. The other hobby was man watching. So these two developed as hobbies in my school days. I could get lost with electronics. I could get lost with people. Like if you leave me in a train station, I don't need food that day. I will keep watching people and the whole day will go. So, it's also said you drive a vehicle looking forward, not looking back, right? So I didn't look back and said, what did I do? What am I? Not much. Just kept moving. And what helped me was this passion that I invested. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about a career in the beginning. I didn't care about many, many things. I just did what my heart tells me to do. And that is my passion. And I just kept moving forward.
So you have proved the point that you keep following your passion, you will reach the pinnacle one day and you'll reach the height of the mountain one day, right?
And Sarah, somebody said, if you have to be number one, you have to be odd.
Yeah. Sure.
So you can't be even and be number one, right? So I was odd. But that's how it is. I can't say I'm number one, but for myself, I'm very happy where I am.
Okay, good. We had a educator last week also, and he said the same point. Mentioning, it's just a coincidence that you're also, of the same thought what he had. Very nice. Thank you so much for that. I know being coach is definitely not easy, right? So, from your experience or whatever it is, what are the typical challenges that people have come to you with?
So people come mostly with relationship issues. And relationship is the fundamental issue that people face. It can be relationship with parents. It can be spouse relationships. It can be relationships with colleagues, their teams, their fellow members, whatever that is, right? So relationship is the primary, what we call as presenting problem. They could also come with other issues like my career is not going anywhere. I feel like I'm stuck. I have a team, but I don't know how to motivate them. I have a leadership position, but I don't know how to manage my team. So there are many things, and organizations come with other kinds of issues where they want teams to work cohesively, work towards a mission, right? The effectiveness of the team. So there are many things that happen. But if you look at it from an individual standpoint, I think relationship is essentially the core of everything.
So it can be a relationship between even a teacher and a student, which we will discuss later in the show. So it can also be that, right?
Absolutely. But see, this is one, anything that we have as a problem, right, can be attributed to relationship. And the relationship could be with yourself.
Yeah.
So being a social entity that we are, I think relationship is the key. And after relationship comes communication.
Great. So So if we have to see, if you want to excel in any field, it means that a coach will be a great source for our motivation and to succeed, right? So it's said that excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude.
Absolutely.
I personally have never been to a coach or never had a coach in my life, but being a teacher, I always thought I was a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wonder what kind of attitude does a coach exhibit? So my question to you is, as a coach, what is your responsibility or what are your responsibilities?
Okay. Number one, we don't come with an attitude that something is wrong and it needs to be fixed.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So every person is unique. They have all the abilities that are necessary to be where they want to be. If their mind has thought of a goal, that means they are capable.
Mm.
As a coach, we never question their capability. And it is true that we don't have to question their capability. It is that something that is block, which is stopping them from reaching their possibility. Okay. To give you a similarity, right? We all know how we are. But why do we need a mirror? So there are blind spots. Our eyes are here. We don't know what's in our forehead. I don't know how my hair is kept. I don't know if my beard is bad. I don't know. I can't see myself. Right? So I go and look at myself. I look at the mirror. Now, what does the mirror do? It reflects.
Yes.
It's not adding, it's not subtracting, it's not doing anything. It's just non-judgmentally giving back what you are.
Okay.
In short, that's what a coach is.
Okay. So if you have to talk about your responsibilities, how will you give me 3 mantras of your responsibilities?
So the responsibility is that it's a partnership. Okay.
Mm.
The coach and the person who is seeking coaching, who is in term called coachee or a client, right? So this is a dyadic relationship. Now, this relationship forms, like if you were to look at any sports person, Saraswati, I mean, I don't know of any sportsman or a sports person who has done well. Even a person who is starting goes finds a coach for himself. Why do they do that? Yeah. Right? So similarly, when a person comes and seeks, we form a relationship, and that's dyadic. In that, my responsibility is to be holding the process of coaching. Coaching is a process. Yeah. So I, as a coach, hold forth on the process of coaching, whereas the person who is seeking help takes responsibility for action that comes out of that work that we do. So that is how it becomes dyadic. You know, have you played three-legged race?
Yeah. Yes.
That's how it is.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. What would you say after next to partnership? What would the other responsibility be?
So the other responsibility is everything is a contract, right? What do I do? How do I do? Or how do we work? What kind of ethics do we follow? Right? What are the different? So everything is permission, right? So when we are doing work, we might come to a point where something very deep has to be shared. And we should allow that to happen, because only then we know how to deal with it, right? We can't keep things inside. So to be able to open up to a coach, right? You can't go with your face covered and to the mirror and say, show me how my skin looks. Not possible. So you have to remove that mask to kind of have the mirror show you what your real self is. So similarly, The person who comes has to be
Transparent to you.
transparent, open, and that is an environment which the coach needs to create.
Okay.
And this is called contracting, where by working with them, we kind of tell them that whatever happens is very confidential. It is not going to be quoted outside, and stuff like that. So it's the environment that the coach sets so that work can happen between them. That's the second point. And the third point is hold accountability. So what happens in a conversation, and coaching is a conversational method. So when we have a session of coaching, we converse, we talk about many things, and a lot of reflection happens, a lot of thought processes come, a lot of revelation happens, right? So all of that is brought together and some action points have to be made.
Right.
And as a coach, I will hold myself responsible for making sure that the action happens. And as a coachee, that person takes responsibility for committing the action.
Wow. So deep. I didn't know so much about coaching. And I think the viewers who will watch us, live now or will watch us later will definitely have a great sense of responsibility, what the coach will be, how the coach will look into the coachee and what, the process would be. Thank you.
However, I just want to say something here to clarify this. See, coach as a term has been quite loosely used.
Okay.
In essence, when you say coach, it means these things. But when you look at it as a financial coach and some other kind of coach, there are a lot of people who tell people what needs to be done. Coach will never tell you what needs to be done.
Wonderful.
Coach will always make the person find what is their true potential and help the discovery of that potential. Now, if anybody was to tell you, Saras, do this, right? The first thing is, why should I do this? I need to be convinced to do something, right? And where does that conviction come from? If it comes from within, it's powerful. If it comes from outside, there are two sources of it. One is fear. You will fear something and then do that. But fear doesn't sustain action.
Okay.
The second is respect. Respect also is not sustainable. So therefore, the source of that action should come from within, and that's what a coach's true character is, right? So we need to understand there are a lot of people who use the term coach, but they are not coach. You can call them consultants, you can call them experts, you can call them anything, but a lot of people, I think coach is a fancy word for a lot of people, so they kind of start using it. So
right.
You should differentiate.
Right. You have brought up so many very thought-provoking ideas for us for who a coach is, what is the real person, and what he would really mean in your life, right? Thank you so much, Mr. Vasu, for explaining this so beautifully to us and for the viewers who are going to watch us. And we are very happy that this has been an educator series, but like I said, I never had leadership person with us. So we are very fortunate to have you with us today, so that we are also getting to learn so much about the term coach is being used. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. So I was reading somewhere and I found these lines very, very interesting. So I'm sharing it here. And it's about children. Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see. I'll repeat. Children are the living messages we send to a time we will not see. And I've had many educators who have shared the views on on what skills the children should acquire or imbibe, or to cope up with the present changing world as graduate from school and they go to the world, and once they finish the university and they go to the world. So they have shared a lot of skills which the child should imbibe or cultivate within themselves. So you as a coach, what do you think the children need to learn in the present context? The world is going through a lot of changes. So what is your perception and what are your thoughts on that? Could you please share with us?
So let's learn from the animal kingdom. Each species has a particular way it brings up its offspring and making it ready for the world that it has to live. And nature, we may call it cruel, but it is zero-sum game, right? Survival of the fittest. So what happens is the child is the next generation, right? So parents are investing. So now the thing is, what happened 30 years ago is not what is happening today. So let's look at advertisements for jobs. I remember 20 years ago, there used to be advertisements which said, Bachelor of Engineering, Electrical or Electronics with distinction, please apply. That was just the job post. Today you see the job post, it's so freaking detailed. It says what that person should do, how that person's attitude should be, what is their background and what skills. So there is a whole lot of things that the industry is now looking at specificity. So coming back and answering your question, I think life skill is very important. And as we see with so many online open universities, right, coming.
Virtual learning coming up.
Virtual learning and
yes.
Yeah. So there is no dearth of skill building. And the organizations are also not looking at degrees. They're looking at abilities. So therefore, it brings us to that skill that is very, very important, or I would say the mindset, attitude.
Yeah.
So in corporate terms, we say competence. Is this person competent for this role? Is the question that a lot of leadership recruitment look at. So competence consists of three things. One is attitude. Second is aptitude. And third is skill.
Okay.
Now, skill can always be developed. Aptitude is the experience, right? Practically, when you implement something, you get the aptitude. Attitude is not something which can be developed. It has to be ingrained from the beginning. That is like very important. And in that, the specific skills that are necessary are communication, thinking, clarity, be able to create solutions. People say think out of the box, right? So look at a problem and find different ways to create a solution. As we see, there are many things that are coming up. But you know what? 30 years ago, what used to happen? Education was to fill roles, and the major focus of educators was to have compliance. They're given a set of things to do. Industry, factory workers, right? They can't think. They have to just do what they are told to do. So our education was focused on that. But now the change is that educators have to focus on what the industry is looking at, right? What is the industry looking at?
The skills and the
skills, communication skills, be able to work cohesively, be able to work in a team, work with different kinds of people, heterogeneous teams, and still be able to add value. And the major focus of educators was to have compliance and then be able to creatively think, problem solving, so many things. So the paradigm has shifted quite a bit.
So you mean to say that the child has to have the communication skill, the child has to think out of the box, the child has to think in different ways, work as a team member to produce, problem solving. So many skills the child has to focus on. That these are the most.
Emotional intelligence, right? How do you deal with your own frustration, your own anger, your own disappointments?
Right.
How? So these are things that social systems as well as educational systems should be able to foster.
It's wonderful listening to you, and I'm sure this is opening up my mind itself, and I'm sure those who are listening and those who are watching us also will feel this. You are giving a total different perspective to this particular question of how to develop the skill. Thank you so much, Mr. Vasu, for sharing your thoughts here. I want to quote Winston Churchill here. He talks about success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. So children normally, or students normally, or human being as we are, when we encounter failure, we get disappointed a lot. So my question to you is, as a coach, have you ever had a moment of failure?
Oh, yes. Many times. I read about Thomas Alva Edison. He made the bulb. So his mother, I believe, told him, you spent so much time, some 10,000 times or something, you failed. So he turned around and told his mother, I learned 10,000 ways of not making the bulb.
Yes.
So it's how you see that, right? I fall, I get up, I dust, and I run. So, I mean, that's an important skill, right? And what is important is I was taught very early about delayed gratification. So you see, I see a lot of children today want instant gratification. It's good. It's good. But we should also know how to deal with the other kind of that skill, right? This is like coming naturally. So I know children nowadays, as they are born, their eyes are open. It used to take like 2 weeks or something for the eyes to open. So today you give a phone to a child, he knows how to unlock it. My mother still doesn't know how to unlock the phone. So things are changing. But I'm saying, when you look at the world, the change is too fast. And we also need to make that gradual. The old skill also needs to transfer and kind of work.
It is said that the greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So, right, exactly matching with what you just said. You would get up, dust, and go, right? So, in your opinion, what can be done if someone faces failure? Because you had that vision, you had that ability, you dusted yourself, and you walked away. But what, in your opinion, what can be done if someone faces failure and he is not too much into this counseling, or too much not aware of what he should do? So, what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, so this was not easy for me as well.
So we would like to know a little more on that from you.
What we call depression happens, and it happened to me big time. And the turf of depression is suicidal thoughts. That also happened to me. Okay, so these are normal things. However, I had a lot of friends and a family who can just listen to me. My grandmother, especially, I could just talk anything, and she would simply listen and not tell me anything. Right? So I think that is an environment that needs to get created. I'm saying it's not easy. With so much happening in our modern life, with our careers, both mother and father focused
on work.
So therefore, I think it is very important to create this environment where children have the safe space to express themselves. And, these are called emotions. So as I learned later, I learned that energy in motion is called emotion. Okay, so what happens? That's an energy which is moving. It's saying, "Oh my God, you failed here. What will somebody think of you? What will you go and tell your parents? What will your friends do? You know, you will be ridiculed. You looked at as a failure. La la la, lu lu lu. All that will happen. So when that is happening, it is like a lot of emotions are going through you. There is fear, there is guilt, there is remorse, you look at yourself and you reject yourself. A lot of all that happens. And it is important at this time to be able to find support and look at how can you bounce back. Just look at how sportsmen go through failures. Right? So everybody has a bad patch. The biggest tennis stars, the biggest cricketer, biggest everybody has got a bad patch. So when they have a bad patch, they go back to their coach, they go back to practice, and they go and do and completely immerse themselves back into reskilling themselves. So I think that's what happened to me, and it came naturally, but I think there is a method to it.
So if I have to sum up for what you have said, that if someone has to face failure, you say that they should have a safe space to express themselves. They need to find support, and they need to find courage, and they should have that perseverance to bounce back again. These will be the three things you would like to say.
So just look at the word fail. First attempts in learning.
Okay.
Fail.
First attempts in learning.
Yeah, you're learning.
Yeah.
So that means you've learned, you did something wrong, do it again, do it again, do it again.
Exactly what Churchill just says, that, success is, consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. You have resonated with the same thought. Thank you so much for that, sharing your views on how we should bounce back. Talking about bouncing back, when we talking about how to get back from failure, it is basically you're developing your personal being, right? Personal development is a lifelong process. Do you agree, Mr. Vasu?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You stopped learning your last day.
So personal development is a lifelong process. It's a way for people to assess their skills and qualities, consider the aims in life, and set goals in order to realize and maximize their potential. So, this being an educator series, I would like to ask you, how can investing in personal development help in educational sector?
More than a help, I think it is the responsibility of the education sector to develop a person. If you go by the etymology of educate, right, which is what you are, educators. What is educate? Bring out. What will you bring out? Bring out the skill, the texture, the talent, the abilities, the personality, all of that. You're bringing out from the word. Educate does not mean fill things in. So there is a difference between educate and teach. When you say teach, you are filling things in. But when you say educate, and that is what we are, educators, what it means is we are bringing out the potential, the capabilities, the personality, the character, so many things we can, right? And if Saras, if you were to look at some teacher who did this with you, will you ever forget that person? And there are so many such people who have touched our lives, right? So I remember geography is my favorite subject. I don't use geography, but I'm crazily interested in geography of a place. Why did that happen? Because my geography teacher was such a wonderful person. He he rubbed off so much on me, right? And like that, so many people. Schooling, I had fantastic schooling. What I am is because of my school. So that's how powerful the educator is. Because the educator also includes parents, significant others, your uncles, your role models, and the environment, and all that are educators, because they are bringing out yourself. They're actually germinating you, right? From a seed to a tree. That is educator.
Right. Wonderfully put across. I think very, very thought-provoking ideas you are sharing with us on Manthan with Saraswati today. We are glad that we are hearing you, Sir Vasu. Good. Thank you for your thoughts. So now here I would like to quote Malcolm X on education. And he says, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Unquote. So I quote Malcolm X again. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Unquote. How can we educators give a huge tick and say that you're ready to fly to the students? So my question to you, Mr. Vasu, is what can the educator and the parent do as the next step for the student or the children?
Tough question.
No, we would like, you've been giving so many beautiful thoughts. Some of them are discussed, some of them have not been discussed. So you're bringing up the point. So we would like to know what is it that the educators and the parents can do as the next step for the students or children. Just a few points should be okay.
Yeah. So the difficulty is because I am not used to being prescriptive. As a coach, that's not how I am. So here are my thoughts. Okay. Firstly, what is education? Ultimately, if you look at the system, right? The education as a system is feeding the industry, whether it be an employee or a leader or an entrepreneur or a professional, right? Everybody who comes in that productive class of people who are bringing value to the society by offering a service or a product or a technology or a knowledge or anything are products of a education system. Now, let's look at what the system is today. With all the AI and computers and artificial machine language and so many things, technology is just everywhere, right? You have nanotechnology, you have medical science so advanced, you have so many things. What's happening is today the requirement of the industry is to have people who can communicate, people who can solve problems, people who can understand another, because you have to work cohesively with others. So emotional intelligence comes there. All these are the requirements. So educators are people who can provide this skill by providing an environment where students practice this and learn. Safe environment to fail.
That's interesting. Safe environment to fail and then get up and work again.
Absolutely. And see, and that's not just limited to school, right? It also needs to expand to the society, the family system and stuff like that. So what happens is the minute, and comparison is so common, right? You say, hey, look at that guy, he has scored 80% or he's scored a rank or something. What are you doing when you are comparing? You're actually putting that person down. These are things that psychologically has huge effect on people. And comparison and so many things that we do naively are very, very dangerous. So in short, my thing is to be able to have the children. See, today what is happening, Saras? Skills are things which people learn so quickly, right? So I know you do a lot of work for Facebook, and you're doing a lot of great work with Manthan and all that. So just look at video editing. Just take another a 15-year-old boy or a girl. Tell her or him to do the video edit. He'll do it like this. Why?
Skill.
Because they know how to learn something quickly.
Yeah.
So what's happening is, as the technology is evolving, people are coming with those skills, be able to deal with those technology, just like how we were better than our parents, right? So our children are better than us. But what's important is we need to make them also be able to create an environment where they're able to deal with all the negative things, like basically give them a net so that when they fall, they don't fall to the ground, they are caught somewhere like a safety net. So that's what and
educators and the parents need to give to the
parents,
students for the support.
Educators, everybody who is bringing up this. These are precious tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they are precious tomorrow. Very true. Very nice. Such profound thoughts have been expressed on Manthan with Saraswathi. A little deep though, but I'm sure those who are watching us live or who will watch us later will definitely try to understand and give this support which you are suggesting and which you are giving as a tip. And they will provide the safety net for the children of today who are the citizens of tomorrow. We will all work towards for the better society, better tomorrow. And these things, what you're saying now, will be kept in mind. To sum up, in your journey as a coach, in what way are you contributing to the various things we have covered here?
See, one thing that I want to kind of leave as a message is, everybody goes through challenges, right? Please consider going to a professional and working with the professional, because the biggest challenge is mental health is the most neglected area in the Eastern world. The West is using mental health specialists extremely well. They go to counselors, they go to therapists, they go to coach, they do all of that. But Eastern culture somehow makes people feel that when I go and talk to a professional, there is something wrong with me. It is not something wrong with you. Is that you are in a situation like, if somebody is stuck in a quicksand, no matter how much you beat your leg, it will only go down. So you need somebody who is on a strong ground to be able to pull you out. And that's what mental health professionals do. So please seek help from mental health professionals. And it's very, very important. And development, personal development, all of that investment is very vital to finally be who you want to be.
Oh, wonderful thoughts. I think you have summed it up from your journey as a coach, in what way you are contributing and what way we can learn from the coach. It was wonderful to put up your views towards the end, to say that as a coach, what you do. I always like to end my show with this question, that being a coach, you have been doing this coaching for 12 years plus now, and you are into 30 plus, 3 decades plus in your service sector. So what is your best memory have you ever had in your career so far? Share with one memory with us.
There are many. To pick one is very difficult. Okay. Okay. So I'll give you something that just comes out of my memory. I think Tuesday night or something, somebody came to me. I was running this entrepreneurship that I told you. It was a repair organization I used to run. It's a services. I used to repair stuff. So somebody came to me and said there is an organization which has PCB testing machines. They have 4 of them. All 4 are down. Their work is stopped. So can you please come? So firstly, I felt very privileged that somebody came, and nobody could do this. So they had somebody waiting with a ticket to Germany who go take all of these boards to Germany, get it fixed and come back. So Tuesday night, I started without circuit diagrams, without anything. I started and I spent the entire night Tuesday, entire day Wednesday, entire night Wednesday. Thursday morning, one machine came up. This was like completely blind doing it. Now, everything got tested of mine. Patience, fear, every aspect got tested. Because they were saying, okay, if you can't do, let be, there is somebody who's going. So then that ego came up. Arey, how can I fail? I'm such a cat here. I've done so many things. I mean, it's a failure, right? So Thursday, one system came. I used that and brought up 3 more systems. Saturday night, all 4 systems were up. It was almost like going blind into a gladiator arena and coming back victorious. That was absolutely fantastic.
You proved your gut there, and you proved your will there, and perseverance.
At that point of time, whatever was my character got tested. Everything.
Wow, no wonder now you're such a successful coach now, right? So to sum up, I would like to end the show with an amazing thought. Winnie the Pooh, we all have watched Winnie the Pooh, and one of the lines from that movie, you are braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Ponder over these lines which I have just said, and have a great life. Once again, I want to thank Vasudev Nagaraj, lovingly called Mr. Vasu, for taking out his time and sharing his thoughts and wisdom with us. Kindly like the page Manthan with Saraswathi, and this is Saraswathi saying bye-bye, and thank you for watching us, and see you in my next episode. Till then, it's Namaste.
Thank you for the opportunity, Saraswathi. Pleasure is mine. And to all the viewers, thank you very much for your time.